Hey guys, welcome to the highly anticipated review of the LEGO Star Wars UCS Millennium Falcon. It is set 75192, 7,541 pieces with 13 total characters, 8 of which being actual figures, and it retails for $850. It is to this day the largest LEGO Star Wars set ever. When it was released back in 2017, it was the largest LEGO set in general. However, that has been overtaken by the Colosseum, Titanic, as well as the Eiffel Tower. And it's tied with the AT-AT nowadays to be the most expensive LEGO set ever. Maybe one of these days LEGO will remake this set and give it a full interior and it will be $1,000. However, I don't think the Falcon is a good choice for a $1,000 set. I still think a Death Star would be the perfect $1,000 LEGO set. This thing defies imagination. It is so freaking big. It is like a pizza dish. But yeah, without any further delay, let's get on to the review of the UCS Millennium Falcon. I'm going to be generally pretty quick with the figures. You get Han Solo, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and C-3PO. These are your original trilogy characters and the ones you should really care about in this set. Here are the alternate faces of both Han and Leia. These are the only thing exclusive about any of the figures. Finally, here's the back of all the OG characters. Here are your sequel trilogy characters, aka the characters you should not care about because they are irrelevant. You get old Han Solo, Rey, and Finn. Here are all their alternate faces. Finally, here are their backs. And finally, here's all the other characters you get in the set. You get a Mynock, BB-8, and 2 Porgs. So on the whole, I think these characters are fine. There's nothing too noteworthy about them. I really don't care about these sequel guys. In replacement, I totally would have put in Luke, R2, Obi-Wan, Han Solo, as well as some Episode 6 guys such as Nine Nub and Lando. But overall, I give the figures about a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. Nothing noteworthy, but nothing appalling. Let's get on to the display plaque. So here's the plaque. We have the Star Wars logo there, Millennium Falcon there, all the information there. You can pause if you want to read that, and then we also have a picture of the Falcon right there. And one of the few gripes I have with the set is they decided to use the sequel version of the Millennium Falcon instead of the cooler version of the Falcon for the plaque. But other than that, this is pretty much the standard for UCS plaques. But yeah, let's get on to the real reason why everyone's here, to see the build of the UCS Millennium Falcon. Here it is, the UCS Millennium Falcon. This thing is absolutely incredible. It's freaking massive and looks fantastic. For comparison, here's Han Solo, there's the U2's Minifigure, and then there is the UCS Falcon. It is like second to none on how big this thing truly is. I don't even know where to start with this guy. I'm probably going to mention on how colorful it is later, so I'll just get over with right now. It is so colorful, even though it is just like a gray dish, which is a common complaint in LEGO Star Wars, like gray Venator, gray AT-AT, another gray AT-AT, gray Star Destroyer. This incorporates so much color to it. Dark red, tan, green or olive green, dark gray, black. It's so like immersive on how this is built. Another thing I want to mention is how much depth it really has. Like I said with the Venator, I love it when they do something like this. It's like a hole, and then there's greebling inside that hole. It just makes it look so much more clean. They did it right over here as well. And just the amount of greebling and detail just makes it look fantastic. The piece usage is fantastic. We have like a handle here. We have a phone, 2 phone pieces. We have so much great detail overall. We have the battle droid arm there. We have like a hose here, another bike handle. In this hole right here, we have a battle droid body. We have 2 pistols. There's literally a jackhammer in there. Taking a look up here, it just looks fantastic with all this awesome detailing. We have some lights here. On the inside, it's even detailed. These right here look fantastic. I love that they're doing the depth thing that the other holes were doing. And I love the studs not on top technique they also incorporated. We have a print right here, which is actually something I'm very appreciated with this set. There are very few stickers in the set aside from the display plaque and this little guy right there. Speaking of this sticker, this is probably my least favorite part on the entire model. This just, I don't like the color changing. It's very, very apparent compared to the Venator. And this just proves that it has always been like this. I don't know why. There's got to be a reason why the color differences are a thing. It's got to be like a production issue or something like that. But back to good stuff. This radar dish is fantastic. It's got some great piece features there. It's got a print, looks amazing. At the back, you can lift it up and down. And a really neat feature that they included on this set that I don't think that they'll do in a future iteration is that they included the Force Awakens radar dish, where you can remove this one and then pop in this radar dish. Here's what the Falcon looks like with the Force Awakens radar dish. I think there's some things that need to go up here, but unfortunately, I don't know where those are right now. Similarly to the last one, you can spin this one 360 degrees and you can lift it up and down. Not as much as the previous one, just because of some restrictions with the pieces, but it still looks pretty nice. Moving up the Falcon, we have more great detailing right here. Right here is one of the few play features on the set where you can move the turrets up and down. You can also move them like this, left and right, and you can move them all around. I'll show you an additional feature just a minute when we go to the interior of this set. Here's what I believe is ventilation. However, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. They look great. They look absolutely fantastic. Previous iterations would use stickers. However, the brick belt is much, much better. Looking at the greebling at the back of the Falcon, it looks fantastic, as previously mentioned. And looking in here, I love the thrust piece usage, where it's like these long tubes. It looks fantastic. All of the detailing on these sections, like this one and then that one right there, look fantastic. They have prints with these circular dishes there, there, and there. They look absolutely amazing. This section leading up to the cockpit is very tiled off and again incorporates awesome piece features. Like, look at that. That's a revolver right there. More battle droid arms. We have this. I don't know what that is, but it's something cool. Right here we have the cockpit with these two amazing printed pieces. And this is the first bit of interior that I will be showing on the set. All I need to do is just pull this off and then you can take this out and then you can put the figures on. This is what this little sub-assembly looks like. It's just inserted with this little Technic pin and it is also held up by these guys right here. By the way, this stud right here was a little modification. I'll show you why I did that in just a second. Here's what it looks like with all the figures on there. It looks great. And I put that one stud there. So it looks like C-3PO is more scared because that's what he looks like in Empire Strikes Back. And finally, here's what it looks like with all of your characters in the cockpit. It looks absolutely fantastic. Next feature you can do is you can pull this down right here and it will drop down a loading ramp, which looks great as well. And right here, there's a blaster that can drop right down and it is a pretty cool little feature. Now remember when I said there's an additional feature with this blaster right here? Well, you can just pull this entire assembly off. Now, while the chair looks good, it actually looks pretty nice. The rest of the interior is kind of bare, in my opinion. On future iteration UCS sets with interiors like the AT-AT and Jabba Sail Barge, they would polish this stuff off, and hopefully whenever they remake this set, this area is a lot more clean. Now, you are able to incorporate figures in this area. I decided to put Luke Skywalker because that's where he is. This Luke Skywalker is not in the set, nor are figures that I will be putting in this little section right here. And here's what it looks like with the sub-assembly back on. You can see Luke right in there. And I almost forgot to mention that there is another blaster in there. Speaking of this area, this is one of the two interior spaces that is actually in the rest of the Falcon. You can take this off, and then you can also take this little bit off, and there you go. Here's what this little interior bit looks like. It looks fantastic. We have the print hollow chest table there. We have some stickers here, as well as a force perspective sticker there. It looks just absolutely fantastic. Over here, we have some more stickers there. We have the chair for Han Solo here. We have some tanks or canisters there, as well as the little training helmet that Luke uses. These are the figures I'm going to be incorporating. Again, none of these are included in the set. These are all from A New Hope. Now, here's what it looks like with all the figures incorporated. I think it looks great. It's a little tight, but I still really like the look of it. Now, back here is your second interior space. All you want to do is push this section out and then take this section off as well. Here's what it looks like. We have the hyperdrive right there. We have a couple more force perspective stickers there. And then right there, we have a couple of these guys. I don't really know what these are, so if anyone wants to leave them in the comments, please do so. And then a really cool detail there is that there's a ladder to the blaster section, which is a very, very cool detail that I didn't even notice at the start. This is where I will be putting the sequel characters because they don't matter, and then I'll be adding Dio because I don't know why. Here's what it looks like with all of the figures in there as well. Now, of course, with this being the first like big UCS set, I get why that there's not much interior. However, again, in a future iteration, I really hope that it gives the entire interior, or at least the majority of it, because again, sets like the AT-AT and Jabba Sail Barge prove that they nowadays can do that. Now, one more thing before the conclusion is that this Minoc has a little anti-stud right there, so you can put him on anywhere on the set like that. I usually like to put him on the bottom, but hey, it still looks pretty cool. Without any further ado, let's get on to the closing notes of the UCS Millennium Falcon. Now, what is my final takeaway of the UCS Millennium Falcon? This set is extraordinary. It's revolutionary, all you can say. Because if it wasn't for this set selling so well, sets like the Star Destroyer, AT-AT, Venator, Jabba Sail Barge, they wouldn't exist because this set didn't sell well. Or it sold well, but they wouldn't have existed if this set didn't sell well or didn't exist in general. Now, while the AT-AT is my favorite set so far, I don't think anything will top it other than like a Death Star. This set does one thing better, and that is like the greebling on the majority of the exterior. Incorporating all these little colors, it just looks fantastic. This thing is like something I've never seen before in LEGO. And honestly, if they told us that this would be the last Millennium Falcon and they would just keep this on shelves forever, I wouldn't really complain because this one is so good. It still stands up to today's standards. The only thing I would change is definitely getting rid of all of the sequel stuff, replacing with Return of the Jedi or New Hope figures. And also, I want to see the majority of the interior made up. I get why that they couldn't do it, and obviously I don't think they can do the entire interior on a future Falcon, just because of like stability, and you don't want this thing breaking at the seams. Like sets like the Venator over there, they're not going to incorporate interiors. But hopefully in a future iteration, if there is another version, this will have a complete interior. The figures are fine, nothing too noteworthy. There's way too many sequel characters in here. I wish the plaque was the traditional Millennium Falcon, not the sequel Millennium Falcon, and this sticker is easily the worst part of the entire set. But other than that, this is like a 9.7 out of 10. This is one of the best LEGO sets I have ever seen. This is probably my 4th or 5th favorite LEGO set ever. Obviously, the first is the AT-AT, then the Star Destroyer, then the Venator, then Notre Dame. This one is up on the top 5, maybe on the top 10 list. I still gotta like rework it. Also for fun, here's just a little size comparison extended. But yeah, with that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. This was actually my 1,000 subscriber LEGO video. Subscribe for more of this. Subscribe for more FNAF videos, stuff like that. If you're a longtime viewer, subscribe for vlogs. You know the drill. And yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.